Today I want to show you some of the progress with the new improved MicroTap design and some of the cool things I've been working on. This is the original prototype. You can see that it's quite slow drawing bitmaps from the SD card. Now you can see it can draw the colour quite fast, but the images are especially slow. And we've got different apps that we can go into, like reading canvas, and even though it looks quite pretty, there's not really a lot of space to be able to do anything. The text is quite squished and the buttons take up quite a lot of room. In the new version, I've addressed this with two screens, one for all the different types of controls and buttons and so on, and the other one for all the actual data display. And by having these resizable windows, I can also fit multiple programs running at the same time, such as this real-time clock running next to this test frame here. This will mean that each program will be split into an input and output frame, which is basically like a little window that I can move around the device. And I can just select whatever box I want to run at what time. And compared to the old screen, we can see that the refresh is a lot faster. As even though there's a bit of like a scan line effect, we can see that it does actually refresh much faster, because each time it does that flash, that is completely redrawing that whole frame. Not just do we have a new improved, cleaner, simpler interface, we also have vastly upgraded hardware. This device is primarily based on the Arduino Mega, whereas this is based on the ESP32, which also has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. The old prototype has to squeeze everything in only 8 kilobytes of RAM. That's not a lot when you're working with reading data, processing data, displaying images, and having it all run at the same time. Whereas with the upgrade, we're going from 8 kilobytes all the way up to 520. In fact, the SRAM on this device is so high, it's about double the entire program memory for the device, the operating system, and all the different apps I want to add. Where this only has 250 kilobytes, this has over 4,000. Not to mention, this device has a dual-core 32-bit microcontroller, where this one only has a single-core 8-bit microcontroller. The ESP32 has a much higher 240 MHz clock over the Mega's 16 MHz clock. With a faster clock and improved screen drivers, this leads us to a far higher refresh rate, which is a lot smoother than what we used to get on this device. In terms of peripherals, we also have an external accessible SD card, whereas for this one we actually have to open the device up. Through this external I/O port, I've also added the ability to charge up a built-in high amperage LiPo battery, rather than relying on the disposable lower power 9V batteries that don't really last all that long. And inside I've also added two independent CAN bus transceivers, so I don't have to use the horrible external sort of boxes and looms and stuff that are made for this model.